D, wait for it, delightful.
Check out the name tag. You're in my world now, Grandma.
What's up, nerds? So I just finished the first episode of Moon Knight. And I have to tell you, I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good. It was setting up some stuff. But we got a great car chase scene. At least I thought it was pretty good. And we got some, exposition, and we got to meet our bad guy and what he's all about and everything. Not everything, but I still have questions and stuff, but that's how shows work. But I really did. I did enjoy this episode. And I have to tell you right now, man, they got some top-notch actors, in my opinion, for this episode. Because Ethan Hawke, first off, I love Ethan Hawke anyways, but man, did he do a good job. And he's such a good bad guy. And then also Oscar Isaacs. I really like that Oscar Isaacs too. He's so good. Even if I don't like the movie that he's in, he does a good job too. He's just fantastic. So we didn't get to meet the woman that's playing Layla. Is that her name? Leah? I can't remember, but we'll see. Because so far so good. I really have enjoyed. I did enjoy this episode. I'm hoping that it stays strong. I personally enjoyed Hawkeye. That's the only DC Marvel show that I've liked. I'm DC Disney Plus Marvel show that I've liked. I just thought the rest were like not good. They're either not good or they're mediocre at best. And if you like them, by all means, have at it. Because I'm not trying to judge or tell you not to like it. I'm just saying I personally didn't like it. And the thing is, I'm going into these, and I've decided I'm gonna watch them. I'm gonna try to like them because they're superhero shows and stuff. It's just once I watch it and it's bad, I can't like it if I don't like it. That's just how it goes. So. So I'm going to break down this episode and everything. And tell you what I know and stuff. And then I will and then we'll just, get started on the breakdown stuff. If I could speak, that'd be great. But now that I'm done with all that nonsense, why don't we go ahead and get started on breaking down this episode? And I'll kind of explain some stuff. I mean, I did a tiny bit of Googling before I did this and stuff. And some of this stuff I did know, because I don't know about you guys, but there was a time, like, I think I was like in elementary school, where I really was fascinated with Egyptian mythology and stuff. And it was super fun and everything. And I think the Percy Jackson, the writer of those, I can't, what's his name? It doesn't matter. He wrote a trilogy of Egyptian stuff, and they kind of explained some stuff there. I think that guy's really good at explaining like Greek and Egyptian mythology to young kids and stuff. So yeah. All right. Rick Riordan. There we go. All right. So now why don't we get started on this breakdown? But before I get started on it, I just want to say that if you like what I do here and you enjoy independent content here on YouTube, please consider subscribing to my channel. YouTube is always changing up their algorithm, and small channels like mine, we always get shoved to the back of the line. So please ask that you like, share, and subscribe, and I thank you in advance. All right. So now let's get started on this breakdown. So it starts off with Ethan Hawke's character, which his name is totally... I'm drawing a blank right now, and I'll explain I'll look up his name while I'm talking to you. But he is getting ready. He's having some kind of like meditation thing going on here, and he sets up this little cloth right here, and he's got his little cane, and that cane has two alligator heads, and that's for Emmett. And we'll find out that whole situation. Arthur Harrow is his name, but we'll find out his whole situation in just 2 seconds. So he gets this glass of water, and he drinks it like a shot. Now I'm curious as to why a glass of water and everything. Maybe because Emmett has the head of an alligator. I don't know. We'll see. And so he sets it on this thing, and he folds it over, and he smashes the glass. And then he takes his sandals and he puts the glass inside the sandals. Like he just he moves it around and stuff. And then he sets the sandals and he puts his feet inside the sandals, and then he steps up. And I was like, you are hardcore, Arthur. And then he's inside this, what looks kind of like, I don't know what's going on here. This was the only time we saw this in this episode. So I'm curious to see what that's all about. Yeah. Pardon me, I just needed some libation. I'm like, I'm having some throat issues. Anyways, so then we find Steven in his apartment, his flat, and he wakes up. I love the whole Britishy stuff. Us Americans love all this Britishy stuff. It's great. And he gets up and he unties his foot from his thing or whatnot, and he's got the sand and he steps in the sand and leaves a footprint right here. Okay, and then he takes off this tape, and he then says hi to his fish and everything, and then he's calling his mom as he's leaving his apartment. Now I have to tell you right now, I don't think the mom is real. I don't think the mom's real. I think that maybe he made up the mom, like so that way he could, like, I don't know, have some kind of connection to somebody. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'm just being weird, but because I was like, what kind, like, this is the thing. So he is in the comic books Jewish, and then he's and Oscar Isaac said that this he felt like he lived in a Jewish neighborhood. And they're not playing up the Jewishness, and the creator of Moon Knight is okay with that, but they're not playing that up, which I kind of think might be a misstep, but whatever, we'll see. I like the whole him being Jewish and everything, but anyway, so he's calling his mom on the cell phone, and that's such a Jewy move. Like, I call my mom like twice a week, and we just enter it up. It's so crazy. Like, we're just but the fact that she's not answering it at all, really, like, I was like, that's like bothersome, because I'm like, I'm sorry, a Jewish mother would answer the phone lickety split. I'm sorry, there's just no way. And if she didn't, she would call you back like right afterwards. So anyway, so he's on the bus and he falls asleep on that man that's next to him and everything. And then he's reading this woman's paper, and she gives him this dirty look. And I'm like, hooker face, stop it. It's not that big a deal if he reads your paper over your shoulder. He's not hurting you. So he gets to his job at the Egyptian, at the museum, and they've got this Egyptian thing going on. And this little girl takes this little diorama of this pyramid, and she puts some like a wrapper in it. He's like, oh, a little girl thinks it's a bin and everything. I love that you guys call it a bin, you British people. So that's great. And he tells her about how they mummify people, and they pull out all of their organs through their nose, which I'm like, that's gross, except for their heart, because you needed your heart to be judged. And that's kind of where Amet comes in, because you would from what I understand is you would put your heart on the scale and a feather on the other side. And if you were a good person, they don't explain Amet really all that well, because she also would you would get a chance to explain yourself, but in this, she's just like, you're bad, bye, kind of thing. So then, what is this woman's name? I think it was Barb. I don't know. I thought Donna was a little, Donna was a little bitchy in my opinion, but at the same time, I don't know what the situation is. So she's all like, hey, you're not somebody that goes around and tells everybody stuff. I can't remember what it's called, but she's like, get back to the gift shop. So she's sitting here and she's kind of being rude to him, but at the same time, he was late, and I guess he was late 3 times this week. And let me just tell you right now, I understand not enjoying somebody being late once, twice, but 3 times, not a lady. I'm telling you right now, 3 times is too many, especially in 1 week. Now, if you're late, once every 6 months, then I go, okay, maybe something happened to where you were late. Maybe there was an accident, you couldn't get around it, yada, yada, yada. So then this woman comes up, and she's obviously a tour guide of some sorts. I can't remember what they call me. They're called a tour guide. She's like, hey, we still on for Friday at the best steak in town. He's like, what are you talking? Yeah, sure. Whatever. He's like, we're going on a date. And she's all like, you're funny. And she thinks he's playing around and stuff. And then Donna comes up and she's like, oh, yeah, and everything. She's like, got a date, huh? And he's all like, yeah. And she's like, what is a vegan going to eat at a steakhouse? And he's like, I don't know, Donna. A salad, bread. And I'm like, yeah, Donna, stop being a cock blocker, okay? Don't be a dick, Donna. So then they're in the back. And he's telling her, he's all like, hey, I was noticing as I came in. She's like, yeah, because you were late. That the poster for it's called the Anand. I can't remember how it's pronounced, but it's only got 7 gods on it, and there's 9. And I looked it up, and there is 9, but there's okay. So there's Atum, Shu, Tefnut, Geb, Nut, Osiris, Isis, Set, Nephthys, and Horus. That's actually 10. Huh. Interesting. Got that from Wikipedia. But those are apparently gods on that little in that club or whatever. And she's like, I don't care. You're not going to be a tour guide. Stop bothering me. And but I just want to say, all the stuff that they had in that gift shop, I was like, oh, that looks so interesting. I would so buy that. I remember I had when I was younger, I had little sarcophaguses. They were like this big, and I would put like action figure. I would put yarn around them like they would be mummified, and I put them in the sarcophaguses. I know, weird. I get it. And so you're on inventory tonight or whatnot. So then he's leaving, and he talks to a guard, and he's like, yeah, hey, later, Scotty. And he's like, it's Steven with the V. And I'm like, how do you not know your coworkers? Like, and even if you don't, like, if I didn't know somebody's name, I wouldn't call them by a name. If I'd be like, later, man, check you later, buddy, later, dude. Anyways, so he's in here talking to this guy who is one of those people that just sit and pretend to be statues and everything, which I was like, that's fun. But at the same time, I just go, why are you bothering this man? But whatever, it's fine. And he's sitting here talking about the date and everything. He's like, how he needs to get a girl, but he needs to fix this this whole thing with the bed situation where he's tied up. And this couple comes up and they're like, can you take a picture of us? He's like, yeah. And he's like, don't forget a tip. They leave a tip, and he leaves him some food, and then he also tips him. He's like, all right, well, I got to go. Have a good night and everything. Hope it all works out. So then he fills up the footprint. He puts the tape on the door, and then he's sitting here listening to this tape. And it's like, here's a way to stay awake. Do a puzzle. Find a book. Find an exciting chapter that you want to be in. And he is in the most exciting chapter. And he's doing some research. And this is the nod. And that was the thing that I told you about. Oh, what does it say here? Originally, Egyptian revered one god only, whose likeness was never represented. He began worshipped in silence. Okay, doesn't matter. Okay, so he's doing like research, and then finally he falls asleep. But then he wakes up. He's in like the countryside, and his jaw's broke. And I was like, oh man. And then he fixes it, but he's in like this countryside. I don't know where he's at. Yeah, I don't know where he's at. But it's beautiful. It's beautiful. If you know what country this is, tell me down below. And also tell me if you live there, because it's such a beautiful country. And he's got a scarab in his pocket. And I'm curious as to where this goes. So then he sees Khonshu. He feels Khonshu behind him and everything. And so he goes and turns around, but there's this big castle behind him and everything. And I was like, ooh, look at that. That's pretty. And he sees this dude up above, and he waves to him. And the guy waves back and everything. And then this guy comes, he's like, what are you doing? And they point their guns at him to shoot at him and everything. And I was like, yeah, what are you doing, crazy? And they go to shoot at him, and he's running. And look at these poppies right here. That's so beautiful right there. Just fantastic. So they're trying to find him. They're like, he's headed towards the town and everything. So he puts his hood up, and he's sorry, I'm getting distracted. He's going through this town, and I could already tell there was a weird like vibe. It's one of the and they do it later on, but I was like, I could totally tell what was going to happen as far as it comes up. Sorry, I need a little water. And so he's going through. Ethan Hawke comes through, and they're all like touching him and bowing and everything, and he's all like, people of Earth, how are you? And he's talking about Amet and how Amet judges. And let me just show you Amet. Hold on. So Amet right here is kind of like an alligator creature. She's got like I think this is a hippo body and everything, and then like a lion's mane or something like that. I can't remember all the details. And she basically just eats you if you're found wanting, and she gives you the second death, and there's no coming back from the second death and everything. And it's, long story short, it's basically if you're just a bad person, there's no salvation for you. But there's also a way for you to like talk your way out of it if you can just explain things. So, or at least that's what I'm understanding about it. But it doesn't matter. So he's sitting here talking about how they're going to build a heaven on earth. And he's like, who would like to be judged first? And this guy comes up and he's like, you're a brave soul. And I'm like, yeah, you are, because I don't know what that means. And so he puts the cane in his palms and he swings it back and forth. And it's going, and his little tattoo here is going also. It's like moving like this. Excuse me. And it goes green. And he's like, this is a good man. He has a good heart and everything. And then this old woman steps up and she's like, Mr. Harrow. And he's like, call me Arthur. Sorry, I'm pulling up the cast again. So that way I don't forget who anybody is. And so, he does the thing. And he's like, I'm sorry, you're a bad person. She's like, but I lived a good life. And he's like, maybe it's something you do in the future. And I'm all like, man. And he explains this later on. And I'll talk about it then. And he's like, sorry, Met's num time. She like all the life gets sucked out of her. And then these two guys come up and they're like, and so they take her body away and look at her body. She's like all like zorgified and everything. And he's all like, he's still here. He got the scarab and he's still here. And then he says something, I think in Egyptian, but I don't know. And all these people bow down and he's like, oh, bollocks. And he goes and he's like, you and everything. He's like, you're a mercenary. He's like, no, I'm just Steven. I'm a gift shopist and everything. He's all like, I'm from London. He's like, London. He's like, I don't know why I said it like that and everything. And he's like, give me the scarab. And he's like, oh, here, you can have it. But then his hand closes. And this was kind of like comedic. I didn't laugh, but I get it, because Marc inside does not want him to, oh, and I forgot to say earlier, Khonshu was talking. He's like, oh, the idiot's taking over again. I was like, Khonshu, that's not very nice. That water went down the wrong tube. And so he's like, I'm trying to give it to you, but it's not happening. Sorry. So they're going to take him into this building and this guy comes out and everything. And then the next thing you know, he's got blood on his hands. And all those dudes are on the ground. And he's like running away and he gets on this cupcake truck and he drives away. And there's cupcakes. And I was like, I would eat one of those cupcakes. I'd be like, oh, this is crazy. So he's driving down this hillside, which I have to tell you right now, driving on this road would give me anxiety up the wazoo because I'm like, look how far down it is. If you misstep a tiny bit, you're gone. You might as well just kiss your butt goodbye. Say, hey, Ahmed, how you doing? Let's be friends. Look at that. Oh, that's so scary. Oh, look at that. Look, it's just, you fall off there. You're gone. Even there. Like I was just, whatever. Okay. But look at all that. It's all that green. It's so beautiful. Anyways, so he's being chased by this dude. This guy gets on and he shoves a cupcake in his face. I was like, oh, delicious. And then Marc takes over. And that dude's dead. That dude that was on him. And hold on. So then this truck comes in front of him and he goes around it. And as he does, this car slams and gets crushed by it. And then these guys go around. Sorry, that was out of order a little bit. And they got the tattoos and everything. And he's basically just, and he's going backwards at this point, but he's basically just stopping them from stopping him or whatnot. They get out and the logs from that truck earlier fly on them and then they're falling down. And then he wakes up and he's like, oh, it was just a dream. But that's so silly. I'm such a silly goose. And so he's watching TV and he's like, hey, fish. Bernard, I think his fish name was Barnard. He's like, what do fish dream about? And then he looks at the fish. He's like, what's going on? He's like, you have two flippers. And he's like, it has 2 flippers. And he's like, it didn't before. And she's like, listen, she's like, you came in here the other day looking for a fish. I don't know what to tell you. Fish don't grow back. If you want a deformed fish, go to deformed fish shop. And he's like, hey, that's not the right time. And then she goes, listen, it's because she says something about Sunday. And he's like, it's not Sunday, it's Friday. She's like, it's not the right day. It's not the right time. Maybe you're not right. And she's right. So he runs out and he gets ready for his date. And he's sitting at the steak shop and everything. And the guy's like, is somebody still going to join you? And he's like, yeah. And he calls her and she's like, oh, now you want to call me? She's like, I ate steak on Friday. And he's like, what are you talking about? It is Friday. And she's like, it's Sunday. And he's like, no, it's not. And she's like, listen, think whatever you want, bud. And you know, it was kind of like, first off, I've never been stood up before. Of course I haven't. Look at this face. Of course I haven't. But if I did go to a restaurant and somebody didn't show up on time, I'd give them like 10 minutes and then I'd call them and be like, hey, are you coming? And if they didn't, answer, then I'd call them one more time and then I'd leave. You get 20, 25 minutes tops and then I'm out if you don't answer the phone. So he's finally like, he's like, I will have a steak. And he's like, what kind, how would you like, what kind would you like? And he's like, the best part or whatever he says. And he's all like, how would you like that cooked? He's like, really good. He's like, so well done, which I don't like my steak well done. I feel like it's too chewy. I would go medium rare at the most and everything, just get a little bit of pink inside. Daddy likes that a lot. Steak is delicious. It's really expensive right now though. Anyways, and he eats the steak, I'm assuming, because we didn't get to see him eat it. Then he's on his way home. He throws away the flowers, which I was like, don't throw away the flowers. You can still put those in some water and look nice and everything. And he's got the chocolates and everything. And he's calling his mom, who again didn't answer the phone. And I just say right now, moms, the little yentas, they love hearing about your dates. So why wouldn't she call him back and be like, tell me about your date and everything? It's ridiculous. I know my mom would have been like that. She's like, how'd your day get? So he gets back, he's eating the chocolate, talking to the fish, and he throws the chocolate in there, which I don't know if that's healthy for fish. I know you can't give chocolate to dogs, but I don't know if you can give it to fish, and the fish didn't eat any of it. So he drops the chocolate and he sees these little marks right here. And then he pulls back this rug and somebody has pulled that table over so many times that it's left a mark in the floor. So then he pulls it back and he finds this little cubby hole up top. I thought he was going to find it in the floor, but it's like, whatever. And he pulls out a cell phone and a key and he sees Layla and he's going to go call her. But then she calls me. She's like, oh, thank God you're alive. I'm trying to get a hold of you for months. Marc, what are you doing? He's like, what did you call me? She's like, Marc. She's like, I just found this phone and everything. And then she hangs up or they get cut off. I'm not sure what happened there. And then he hears the voice of Marc and he's like, Steven, and everything. And he goes to the bathroom and the mirror is like totally different. Like if you look, he's looking backwards, but it's looking at him. I was like, ooh, so good. Very creepy. So he runs out of his apartment because it's like blinking lights and stuff's like whatever. And so he goes out to the hallway and he gets inside the elevator, which I'm like, yeah, there you go. Get trapped inside of a box. Yeah, smart move with a mirror, And he's in there with the mirror and he's like touching the mirror and everything. And then he gets out on the 3rd floor and nothing's happened. But then it opens up and you see like a figure right there. You see that figure. And he's like, what's going on? And then it's, oh shoot, I thought I got a better picture of it. But it's Khonshu and he's coming towards the elevator and he goes to open it. And it's this old lady. And we saw this in the trailer. Everything, and she's like, oh, how you doing and everything, and he's all like, it's like, fine, how are you? And she's all like, oh, quite well. And he's like, I lost my contact, and she's like, and she's freaked out. This is my whole thing. She's like super freaked out, a lot more freaked out than I would be, because I'm all like, he's obviously going through something, but I wouldn't consider him a threat. He doesn't look threatening and everything. He looks scared. And she's scared too. So she's trying to get off and everything. But he's like, and he turns around and Khonshu's right there. But then he wakes up. He's like, oh, and everything. He wakes up on the bus. I'm like, interesting. And he gets off and he sees Ethan Hawke on the bus and some other people who he'll recognize later. And he goes inside the museum where this security guard is watching otter videos, which I'm like, listen, otters are great and everything, but like, dude, you're a security guard. Do your job. Why is everybody letting you just watch otter videos? Like if I sat there and watched otter videos at my job, I'm not even security guard. And my boss would be like, yo, you want to do your job today? Huh, bud? So he's like, hey, if anybody comes in, don't let anybody in. And he's like, I got to let people in. He's like, well, yeah, but don't let anything sketchy. And he's like, it's a museum. It's a free museum. I have to let people in. What are you talking about? And Donna comes up and she's like, hey, will you take this? He's like, you know what, Donna, will you just give me a minute? And he goes through the museum and he runs into Arthur. And the security guard is on Arthur's side because he's got the tattoo. And he's like, it's not my, and he's like, I want the scarab back. And he's like, it's not my scarab, it's hers. Amet. And he's like, she was betrayed by the other gods and by her avatar. So I'm assuming by her human. Because he's the avatar. And they go through and he's telling him about how, you know, if Amet had not been betrayed, but been, able to let loose because she judges you on your past and your future of your life, would it have been able to stop, say, Hitler or, I can't remember who else he says are the Armenian genocide and everything. And he's all like, something about would you prune the weeds from your garden after the roses had all been killed? And he's like, no, and everything. And he's like, isn't it so something about like, isn't it frustrating with that voice inside your head? And then he pulls out the thing, he puts the staff on him and he goes to judge him, but it's all shaky. It's all shaking. He's like, there's a lot of chaos in you. And he's like, let him go. And then later on that night, he's doing inventory. And he's going to leave, and he hears like a voice or whatever, like some noises, like and everything. And he's going, and there's a creature there. It's like this werewolf looking creature, but like kind of like Anubis with the dog thing and everything. I didn't look up what it was or whatnot. Sorry, but Ethan Hawke comes over the thing. Need more water. Comes over the thing, and he's all like, give me the scarab and you won't be torn to shreds. And he throws his bag and he's like running away and everything. But this werewolf looking thing is following him and gets him stuck in this bathroom. And he's breaking the thing. And then Marc comes over through the mirrors. And he's like, Steven, you have to let me take control. I can save us. And he's finally like, okay. And then you see all these hieroglyphics in the background. It's very, very cool. But he's like being taken over as the werewolf comes in and breaks down the door and comes in and tackles him. Then you see this sink get thrown in there. And then the werewolf looking thing tries to get away. He's like, oh shit, I made a mistake. And then Moon Knight's there and he's just beating the shit out of him. He's all like, take that. He's like, foot game, bitch, foot game, 12 and everything. And so then he turns around and then he comes towards the camera and then that's it. It goes to black. And that was the first episode. And I thought this was very good. I'm happy that I liked this episode. I don't know if I'm going to like the rest of the season / this show. But as far as first episodes go, this one was good and I did enjoy it. And I'm happy that I enjoyed it because listen, if you watch any of my other breakdowns, I'm so sick and tired of not liking shows. I'm really sick and tired of it. Like I want to enjoy this stuff, but it's not my fault because I can't help it. I can't help not liking a show. I can't help it. If you write a bad show, I'm not going to like it just because it's got superheroes in it kind of thing. But I did like this and I thought it was very good. And I can't wait for next week's episode. Can't wait. So that is my breakdown and review of this episode of Moon Knight, episode 1. Tell me, what did you guys think about this episode? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Where do you think it's going to go from here? Who's your favorite Egyptian god? Mine's Bast. I love Bast, the little cat, the little cat lady and everything. But yeah, tell me what you think. Go ahead and leave all your comments in that section down below. If you like this video, go and hit that like button. I won't mind. If you're new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. I'd greatly appreciate it. I will see you guys on my next Moon Knight breakdown and review. You guys have a good week. Bye.